This is Jeff Schlarb, and this is behind the design of 2030 Leavenworth. It's a great home. You know, the views are great. It's got cool banisters. It's got, a really open feel, but it really didn't have any definition of each space. I think the largest challenge of 2030 Leavenworth was to still have these rooms feel a little defined, but it's so open on this top floor that the common weave has to be woven. So you couldn't do just something as a completely different colorway, even in the office. That was separate to the design intent here in the formal living room. They talk to each other. We had the most fun putting together all these different fabric combinations. You've got a boxy pattern of plaid here. You also have this really handsome, like men's clothing looking Roman shade. You got wool sateen it was draped so nicely for the window treatments, and then this leading edge, which no one would ever see if I didn't point it out right now. And it's the same with the family room and all the light fixtures. They're visible right next to one another. And that's a good example. Light fixtures are fantastic, and they're jewelry. You'll see that they sort of hard bounce off of each other. It's kind of like patterns have to do that too. But the light fixtures in here, instead of being very similar, which is one strategy, they're like really are different, each one of them. And that way they go together in a more handsome way. This is acrylic rope, and there's LED strips inside of it, but it's all woven. I mean, you can even see me moving it. It's all woven and it's flexible, and we get to style exactly how that rope, illuminated rope, would work, and it's dimmable too. And this is just, off the charts different than having to do two pendants, which, if you're gonna get creative in a very clean, contemporary space, it's fun not to be just so prescribed or repetitive. So we're really excited when we found this light fixture. Every time we meet with a client, we can pull things from them, collaborate with them, and we make something special for them to come home to. And this is maybe too much yarn, but since we went through this pandemic, people really grabbed the opportunity to make their home more reflective of them. Where we used to do these boxes, we used to do these, more simple palette throughout the home. We got the opportunity, since people are staying at home, to really make each space a little bit different and have more creativity. And pulling that out of people, being their creative director, is what we do to just make it electric when they come home. And then the coolest things, we use all this different wallpaper. They've got the living wall over there, but this is a Venetian plaster. We love it doing it this way. I'm not sure if you guys have seen a lot of Venetian plaster, but it's often like I would call it sponged, sort of sponged technique, where it's kind of the size of a fist or something. But this has got troweled on, and it's marble and natural stone. It's been crushed up basically into dust, and then it's got a custom color into it. And you can see all the variety of color, and that's from the installer kind of like troweling on like you would see on a cement or something. They're kind of like just scraping on and off and make this more horizontal pattern instead of this tie-dye looking pattern. So this turned out perfect. We've been described as using a style of modern maximalism. And I think that what that means to me is still keeping it nice and tidy. Everybody knows contemporary classic. It's like the mashup of old and new. But modern maximalism means, we can use more texture. We can use more variety. And we can put it all together with those different furniture shapes. But the modern part, I guess, is that we're not going maximalist. We still have to make it sort of easy on the eyes, and we want a place for the eye to rest. So this furniture arrangement really had to extend. So it's one of these rooms where it's a room and a half, and so we have to customize a rug. So you can see we customized the rug that catches all the pieces, and that's just great technique for shrinking a space or collecting a space together. Walk into so many homes that are simple. And a lot of times, if it's a new construction home like this is, it's not old at all, it's a great home. But it just had, the white paint. It didn't have any character. I think it's so important for the really simple, clean, crisp, contemporary homes to add those little bit of layers. I sometimes talk about men's clothing, or this shirt is on purpose. Like this sweater doesn't have the long sleeves, but that's on purpose. Or if you look at men's clothing, it has cool little stitching on, just the shoulder. Those little details that only if you investigate, you find. And I think that's how you take a contemporary, very simple interior and give it that life and give it the interest, and hopefully it's reflective. Like I said, it's always reflecting our clients. This is also a perfect example of taking a very white, easy, really with no space with no texture. And we added this wood, this veneer, and it's from Philip Jeffries. Gorgeous, so cool. We've only done it a few times. But if you ever talk to our installer, who's a little bit rock and roll, a little bit wallpaper installer, he had a fit with having you take this wood and kind of wrap it around the corners, and it's still held up so beautifully since we've done it. But this is it. It's got this great sheen to it. It actually is wood. It's a beautiful color, but it adds this dimension in here that pulls us away from just being something so simple and becomes something special. The way we make sure that we show restraint is we put all the ideas together, and then we have to help our clients choose. Some houses have more layers and some of them have less, but we always coach clients to at least pick some things that can still have a voice. The drawback to having maximalism is that everybody wants to be part of the show. Everybody's got a loud voice, and what it's like to go into a restaurant and you can't hear your guests there at the table. That's kind of what it's like to go into a home that's just over the top. So again, a place for the eye to rest, and lots of character and charm, but knowing where that line is to show restraint.